Making beds. I seen your picture making beds.
Oh,
No.
all I did was drill. Most of, I should say, that's not all, but most of what I did was
Most
drill.
drill.
Drill and
Don't pretend we didn't have it.
Ready?
Chairman, I think we still got a few seconds technically. It's 5:59.
I think wait till we.
Now we're good.
Okay. All right, welcome to the public service meeting, Tuesday, October 28th, 2025, here at City Hall Chambers. Roll call, please.
Chairman Rick Streebing,
Here.
Vice Chairman Sherry Pickering,
Here.
Alderman Tricia Teague,
Present.
Eve Ludwig,
Present.
Jaleel Jones,
Here.
Doug Arns,
Here.
John Cooper,
Here.
7 present.
7 present, thank you. Puts us item number 2, approval of the minutes for 9/23 of 25. Need a motion and a second.
So moved.
Second.
Is there any changes, corrections? If not, those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, thank you. In front of us, number 3 is approval of the agenda. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the agenda for this evening.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on the agenda? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it, thank you. Puts us item number 4, audience comments.
I have no audience comments tonight.
Okay, thank you. Puts us chairman's comments. I don't have anything to say neither. So, item number 6, the approval of payrolls for 10/24 of 25. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the payrolls.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Is there any questions on the payrolls? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Item number 7, approval of vouchers payable for 10/28 and a special run for 10/27 of 25. I'll need a motion and a second to approve the vouchers payables.
So moved. Second.
Any questions on vouchers payables? Not, roll call, please.
Alderman Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Puts us to the city clerk's report. Rachel Hahn, our city clerk, her items of information, her monthly report.
For the period of September 19th through October 23rd, our office has received and completed 57 FOIA requests, 18 permits or licenses, and we've worked through 10 resolutions.
Oh, sounds like you guys been a little bit busy.
Yeah.
Any questions for Ms. Hahn? If not, thank you. Puts us to community relations. Rihanna Oles, administrator, items of information, her monthly report.
Hi, good evening. The only 2 specific things I have to point out is 2 upcoming events. We kind of have a busy next week in community relations. We have What's Brewing on the 5th from 5 to 6:30 at Turtle Run. So not specific to only North Danville people, but we're trying to move them around town, so we're getting in people's neighborhoods directly, and they don't have to travel as far, hopefully, to get to us. Kids are welcome, so if you can't arrange childcare, it can be a little crazy during this season. We totally get it. Please feel free to bring them. And then we have Potter Fest on Friday, November 7th from 5 to 8 p.m. in downtown. This is one of our biggest events of the year, and all of our downtown businesses get involved, so we're pretty excited for this one, and Lindsay's been working really hard on it and has some cool new fun ideas that I think a lot of the community will enjoy.
Anybody have questions for Rihanna? Thank you, dear.
Thank you, guys.
Puts us number 10, finance. Alyssa Sweeten is the comptroller. 10A is a resolution authorizing agreement for group health insurance with BC and BS of Illinois and difference card through Epic Insurance Brokers and Consultants. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 10A? And we have Miss Kathy Corson here to answer any of your questions.
Kathy, did you want to give them?
You want to give a little breakdown,
Yeah.
please?
So originally, when Blue Cross Blue Shield brought us our renewal for 2026, it was 24%. That is actually a fair assessment and renewal rate because of the fact of our utilization. Our brokers, Epic, were able to get that down to 18.5, but we had a series of meetings with them just trying to figure out what can we do to try to bring that amount down, because 18% just was too much. So what we did, we had them look at several different options. They proposed an option where we go to a high deductible or a higher deductible plan, and we work with a company that could provide a health reimbursement account. And so what will happen is when the employees go in, they're gonna have a $7,500 yearly deductible. That's also going to be their maximum out-of-pocket as well. So that is the amount that they would, if they didn't have this health reimbursement account, would have to pay the first $7,500 worth of medical bills that they incur throughout the year. So for a family, that actually would be an accrued amount of $15,000. So what we looked at, because that is a significant difference from what their current plan is, because our current plan, the maximum out of pocket per person is $3,000. The deductible is $1,000, but family is $2,000 for the deductible and $6,000 for out of pocket maximum. So that is quite a difference. What we found when we were working with them was that with this health savings, this health reimbursement account, what we can do is provide the employees a card that has $6,000 for a single person, $12,000 for a family on it, that they can use for the first $6,000 in deductible. So it's still going to leave them with a potential out-of-pocket maximum of $1,500 or $3,000 if it's a family. So this is kind of what we've done working with this company, is going to ensure that they're not breaking the bank by suddenly going to this much higher deductible plan, but working with this company and even funding that health reimbursement account by changing to that higher deductible plan brought our premiums, the amount that we potentially could owe, down significantly. So from 18.5% to 6.8%. So at that point, that was a much more acceptable increase that we could tolerate. And I think, you know, once the employees, I know there will be a little shock when I come and say, hey, but I think once they get used to it, they will be okay. One of the things that we're really going to impress on everybody is make that $6,000 work for you. Be a savvy consumer when it comes to your health benefits. So just because you're at Carl doesn't mean you need to go to Carl for the blood work, because it is more expensive than if you went to someplace else. So those are the things that we're going to be trying to make sure that they understand, is that look around to see what those costs for those specific benefits that you're looking for are at the various different places, whether it's a freestanding, whether it's one of our regular major players in this area, such as Christie, Carl, OSF, Two Roads. Those are all the main providers that we have in this area, but there are options where one has, you know, might have something that's a little more expensive, one might have it for a little less. So sometimes it's just a matter of knowing that you can actually tell that physician, hey, can you just give me the orders for my blood work and I'll take it to where I want to go. So those are things that sometimes trying to get people to understand that they have the right and ability to do that is a little hard, but that's one of the things that we're going to really be pressing when we're talking about this during open enrollment.
Yes.
Kathy, would you explain about out of pocket, how much they're going to pay, period? Because it's much cheaper than what we have for them now, right?
Right. So by us providing that health reimbursement account, that's going to pay that first $6,000. That leaves a potential $1,500 that they would have to pay for a single person, or $3,000 for a family. So what will happen if they get to the point where they have exceeded $6,000 in medical bills? Then at that point, they will then have to pay, when they start getting those bills from those providers, for that $1,500. But it is a maximum of $1,500 versus the $3,000 they would currently have. And it's on the back end of it, so it's not like a true deductible for you where you're paying that deductible from, you know, January 1st from the minute you walk through the door, and you're paying that deductible up front. So there are some people who will never end up paying anything out of their pocket just because they're not big users of the insurance, or because of the fact that they're not going to exceed more than $6,000 in medical for the year.
But if they do, though,
if they do, then they pay that $1,500.
But that's it,
That's
right?
it, yeah. The rest of the bill for the rest of the year would be covered at 100% by Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Alderman Teague, you had a question?
Yes. So the health reimbursement account, the $6,000, the city is paying that?
Yes, we will make sure that is on the card, ready to go. This difference company will actually monitor it and require people to actually periodically, if it exceeds a certain amount, provide proof of what they were paying so we can ensure that what they're paying for is this year's stuff as well as that is something medical. Cannot be used at any place like Meijer or Walmart to buy a TV. It is smart in that aspect and will not allow them to be able to purchase it. So this company, like I said, Difference Card will provide all of that. At the end of the year, what is not used on those cards does not become the employees. It comes back to the city.
And what is it that the city is paying now per employee?
Per employee, what?
So it's $6,000 per employee now for the health reimbursement account going forward, right?
Right. We've never had this health reimbursement account before.
Right, but I'm assuming we have an expense per employee for healthcare, average at least.
No, we don't pay anything towards their out-of-pocket cost right now.
I think what she's asking is what is it, premium, yes, per individual now.
That varies depending on which plan they use. We have a broad PPO and we have what's called the Blue Choice Select PPO, which is a little less than the broad PPO, but it has a narrower network here in Illinois, so that's why the premiums are a little bit lower. That is what that percentage is going to be based on. So that, depending on whether they're employee and spouse, employee and children, or family, depends on what their premium costs will be based on which plan they choose. So if they choose the higher plan with the family, then their percentage of that is going to be higher. Right now, it's a 12% premium amount based on that specific monthly cost for that plan as is. So next year, what will happen as those premiums change, their percentage will be based on that, depending on what particular plan they choose.
Chairman, if I may, I believe what Alderman Teague is getting at is how much does the city pay? So if you could explain, what are we paying now? How much is it going to go up with us paying both of these things? That's what you're asking, right, Alderman?
Yes, I understand the employees portion and the changes that making there and what's going to be rolled out to the employees. What I'm not clear on is what is our current expense, and then what is our expense budgeted for next year as it relates to the employer's portion of health insurance.
Administrator, so how much is it going up with this, and how much would it go under the original plan? So
18.5 is what, if we stayed with our current plan, what our percentage would go up. So our current premiums would go up by 18.5% for next year. With this new plan, it's only going to go up by 6.8%.
That's the employer's portion that's increasing 6.8%.
That's the total premium.
That's the total premium.
Employer and employee to combine. So expense to the city, because here's the thing, the city is not paying the employee's portion. So my question is really trying to get at how much is the city's expense increasing or decreasing or staying the same? Because I get total, but total includes the portion that the employee is paying out of their own pocket and then the portion that we pay as the employer.
So for Blue Select, for a family, in 2025, we're paying $32,000 for an employee's family. In next year, our rate would be $28,391.
So our total, if everybody had the same plans that they have now, our total is actually going down as the employer?
If everybody had the exact same plan as they have now, it would be a slight increase just because of the different, a regular PPO versus a Blue Select. So the PPO, the prices are a little bit higher, but generally it's a little over flat. But we expect also, if an employee currently has the full PPO and moves to the Blue Select plan next year, their premiums will actually go down for the year. So they will pay less next year than they pay this year if they go from the full PPO to the Blue Select.
Right. I understood the part in terms of what the employee's portion. I'm just trying to get an understanding of the cost to the city. That's what I'm trying to get an understanding of.
So with the cost of the city with this plan will go up how much compared to if we kept it normal? That's what you're
correct. So if the city is spending $250,000 total in health care for the city's portion of insurance,
it's only increasing by 6.8%.
That's what I needed to know. Thank you. That's what I was trying to get to understanding of as the city's portion. Thank you.
Alderman Lawrence?
Just two questions. The first is regarding the provider group, and that was my question is it the same provider group as the plan offerings they have today?
Yes.
Okay. And then the actual premium amount, under the scenario that was explained, the 32,000 for a family, that'll go down to 28. Theoretically, if we added 6 to that, we would be at 34. Am I understanding that correct?
It's built into that price. So when we say it's 28,
Built into
that's
the
with
28.
our, yes.
That's all in. Okay.
Yeah, all
Thank
in,
you.
that's the number.
Very good. Thank you. It seems like a good opportunity to try. You never know until you try it, but certainly we've looked at these and here and others, and being able to put the $6,000 up front rather than having the employee have to put their money out like the HSAs, good benefit. Very good benefit.
And you know, I think the last couple of years, I know Kathy and them worked hard last year because we thought we were going to get kicked in the teeth for a 25 to 30%. And they, last minute, Hannah, they got us a big savings. And I think this is another one of those because it's going crazy out there right now.
Yes, it is.
Alderman, the thing that I love about this as well, in addition to what you said, is that if someone doesn't spend the entire $6,000 a month or $6,000, and it comes back to the city as well, so we could theoretically see a rebate. And there are some people, for example, that I know with the city that don't go to, they just hardly ever use it, you know.
And that's where ideally that money would be ordinance to roll back into the same fund to help us out for the following year.
Right.
If we could do that.
Is there any more questions on 10A's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Ludwig.
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Strebe.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
7 yes.
Yes, thank you. Puts us to 10B. We have a resolution authorizing an agreement for health insurance for Medicare Part B eligible retirees with Blue Cross Group Medicare Advantage through Epic Insurance Brokers and Consultants. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for your approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 10B's resolution? Yes.
My only
Steve?
question is about the part that's crossed out. Is it crossed out because we're not taking it and we're only taking what's,
What's crossed out?
I don't know because it's crossed out.
Medicare
Advantage choice plan and a Medicare
Choice,
Advantage
yeah.
classic plan.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know you were talking about this. Right now, we currently have a Health Alliance. It's through Health Alliance. It's an Advantage plan that we provide to all of our retirees who are over the age of 65. They have to be Medicare Part B and A eligible. So right now, they're currently paying $188 for the Advantage plan that they have through Health Alliance, but of course, that is going away as of December 31st. So we did find where Blue Cross is allowing us to provide in a group Advantage plan. They don't normally do them as a group, and so it's just sold as individual plans. But what they're doing is going ahead and allowing us to do the group for our retirees that are over 65. The other one, the higher one, it's $500 per month is what they were wanting. It did a little better, but we only offer one Medicare Advantage plan to the retirees. So the Medicare Classic plan, that one is the closest to what they currently have. There's only some copays that may be a little higher, like $5, and then some that are less than $5. So right now, there's not going to be a big change to those retirees, other than with the premium.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions on 10B's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Jones.
Yes.
Arns.
Yes.
Cooper.
Yes.
Strebe.
Yes.
Pickering.
Yes.
Teague.
Yes.
Ludwig.
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Puts us to 10C. We have a resolution authorizing an agreement for liability and workman's compensation insurance with Illinois Counties Risk Management Trust, ICRMT, through Loman Ray Insurance Group, LLC Insurance. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 10C's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones.
Yes.
7 yes.
I mean, yes, thank you. And thank you, Ms. Corson, for all your work. Believe me, I know you've probably been working on this for a month or two, so.
Well, unfortunately, it all kind of comes in at one time. So yeah, trying to kind of juggle it and make sure we've got everything that we need, and especially to make sure it gets onto the agenda. That usually is the most difficult thing for the insurance companies to kind of understand, is that we do have this deadline so that we can make those specific agendas. So,
Thank you again.
thank you.
All right, puts us 10D, items of information. Fiscal year 2025 and 2026 cash flow and budget performance report, risk management monthly report, and personnel monthly report. Ms. Sweeten?
Any questions on the reports?
Anybody have any questions?
I had one item of information on the original memo that I sent out. The original date for the levy public hearing was going to be next Monday, and that will be pushed out to the following full council meeting. So we have time to go over the budget a little more closely before we have that hearing.
Any questions for Ms. Sweeten? Thank
I
you.
also remind everyone that I'm available, calls, email, could stop by my office if you have questions on the budget to help get those addressed. Alderman Arns has already stopped by with questions, so happy to accommodate.
You have any? Okay, thank you. Puts us to item number 11, fire, Aaron Marcotte, Fire Chief, items of information, his monthly status report. Chief,
We have the report. Is there any questions?
any questions on his report?
Just a couple things. We had the two candidates graduate academy. Anna Ames, one of our probationary firefighters, she received the top award from all academy. Was the highest getter for leadership and skills and everything like that. It's the first time we've had somebody do that, so that's kind of neat. We completed pump testing today, so all the trucks passed. One minor repair so far on one of the engines, and then we did get a nice little bump in smoke detectors last month just from the Community Connect. We're starting to get those to kind of rolling, kind of nice. So it's working pretty well.
Now, Chief, will you continue that, or are you gonna?
Yeah, that'll be open
All the
now. It's
time?
open that way all the time. Yeah,
Good.
or you can still call the station and just ask for one. But that's
Good, good.
Yep.
Good. Any other questions for the chief? Thank you, sir. Thank you for your report. Puts us number 12. Item number 12, Human Relations. Tasha Davis, Administrator, her items of information, her monthly report.
My monthly report for complaints, I have police department, 3 in total, 2 have been closed. I have 1 remaining open. I have 1 remaining open for a city official, and then a new complaint from a private employee or employee at a area located here in Danville. I have those 8 remaining cases that were open that I did some digging, and no one has stepped forward as of today. If they don't step forward by the end of the year, I'm just going to close them out because nobody has contacted me. I tried to look for names, case dates, none. I don't have any of that information. So hopefully by December 31st, they'll come and say, hey, I'm one of those persons. If not, I'll be closing them out. Community engagements, ongoing with unmet needs and women helping women. Any questions?
You
For
have
me?
any questions?
Okay, that's my report.
Okay, thank you. Next, item 13, Informational Technology. Agno Da Silva, Chief Technical Officer, is not here tonight because he's sick. You've got some items of information in his monthly report. Do you have any questions that the mayor can answer? How you like? How you like that? Yeah.
That's one of my least
Oh, I got you. Oh, okay. Okay, then if nothing there, let's go to legal. Leon Parker, Corporate Counsel, his items of information and his monthly report.
So, good evening. You've got my report for October of 2025. last month I made you all aware that the statistics that we have in our report, although the numbers are accurate, they were sort of lagging behind because of the way our CitizenServe system processes our information. We've made an adjustment to that, and what was happening is when our inspectors issue a violation, almost half of those violations are abated by the owner of the property. The ones that aren't, they go to citation. So what was happening is a violation in July didn't get to citation until October. But in our CitizenServe system, it requires you to put that date of violation. So in October, when we put a date of violation of July, July's gone. Those numbers go into July's report. So what we're doing now is we're actually using the date. When it calls for the violation date, we're using the date that we actually issued the citation. I know that makes a lot of sense, but that's not the way this system operates. So by next month, the figures should really be accurate. They're good numbers. They're actual numbers, but we just want October's numbers to be reflected in the October report and not get lost reverting back to a violation date that happened 2 or 3 months ago. So our year-to-date numbers are accurate. And by next month, I think our monthly report will accurately reflect what took place in that month.
Any questions for legal on that? I think when we first got that technology to do that, we had problems from the get-go. So, and then the counselor, corporate counsel retired, and it's somebody trying to figure it all out on the fast is kind of hard. So,
I think we got it worked out now.
okay, thank you, and I hope Agnell and his team could help you a little bit. So.
Oh, he does on a daily basis.
Okay. All right, post number 15. Chris Yates, Police Chief. We have a 15A resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the City of Danville, between the City and Danville Police Department and Danville Area Community College. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 15A's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
7 yes.
7 yes, thank you. Puts us 15B. We have a resolution authorizing entering an agreement for a 5-year subscription for body-worn cameras, BWCS, squad video cameras, SVCS, docking stations, and unlimited cloud storage with Motorola Solutions. I'll make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 15B's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Pickering,
Yes.
Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
7 yes.
Yes, thank you. Puts us 15C. We have an authorization, the disposal of police department handheld radios. I make the motion to approve and dispense with the reading and ask for approval. I'll need a second, please.
Second.
Is there any questions on 15C's resolution? If not, roll call, please.
Alderman Teague,
Yes.
Ludwig,
Yes.
Jones,
Yes.
Arns,
Yes.
Cooper,
Yes.
Streebing,
Yes.
Pickering,
Yes.
7 yes.
Yes, thank you. Puts us to items of information and the chief's monthly report.
Just to clarify, I'm sorry. There'll be, I think there were some supporting documents on the body-worn camera and car camera agreement where there's going to be a little bit of a switch to where the $165 will be the second year. So they arranged the the payment plan in order for us not to have to make any budget amendments to this fiscal year. So the larger amount is to pay for hardware, material, licensing, and everything, to where the other is the reoccurring fee. So they're working with us on that to help us out. Did anybody have any questions on our call reports or anything as such, if you've had a chance to review it?
Anybody have any questions for the chief on his reports?
Okay. More other police business. I'll go through it real quick. Interviewing candidates tomorrow. That's going to be for the January Police Training Institute class. We have 5 currently in field training program, progressing very well. I haven't heard of any problems, so that's always a good thing. We have 2 in PTI right now that will be graduating on, if they successfully complete the course, December 28th. And then they'll move right into field training at the new year. Friendly Town, on the classroom progress, it's moving very quickly. I'm super impressed with the contractors, and if anybody's been out there and seen the progress, I mean, we're, 5-6 weeks into the build, and we're getting ready for interior. That'll start, I believe I'll be out there with a group of volunteers on the 15th of November. So if you're handy with a hammer or other carpentry tools, let me know. The intent for that center is more than just the summer classes. Our intent is to run that almost year round. Not for whatever group that comes up with an idea that goes along with our mission, and that's essentially improving the quality of life. And if there's a program, people need to submit it. We create a curriculum either by themselves or we do it together and we move forward. We did a pilot program with Oakwood School District and Oakwood PD last year. It went excellent. We had 66 additional kids just from Oakwood go through. Our numbers are going to be quite more than what we had last year. And then with this new classroom, if you haven't had a chance to see it, you might want to run out there. And it's, like I said, it's going to be pretty impressive, and I think it's going to be a true asset, especially in the education and hopefully prevention of some things with our youth in the community. We're partnering with, like I said, additional stakeholders throughout Danville and Vermilion County villages. The Halloween celebration that we had, I don't know who all got to go out there, but it was quite impressive. We had somewhere between, if we estimated last year, 1,000, 1,200, we more than doubled it this year. I'm guessing there was, I mean, it's almost impossible to count, but it would not surprise me if we didn't have over 2,500 people go through there. Amount of candy that was distributed was approximately almost 3.5 pallets, and those are 4 by 4 by 5 foot tall.
Wow.
We donated forward to another group 4 boxes about the size of a shoebox, and that was all that was left. Afterwards, what was neat is it's almost like, you know, when you wear a white shirt or sitting on a white couch, you're really careful. I picked up literally less than 2 handfuls of wrappers. Out of all those people there, it got everybody was moving out about 7:30. I left after cleaning everything up at 7:47. That's how little it was out. I thought, well, maybe I missed it. Went back out Sunday. I didn't miss anything. It was clean. The community respected it, and more than anything, the community respected each other. It was a neat event. I'm proud of that. I will say that I got to say, legal department had the top decorations. Now I helped them a little bit with a couple props, but they killed it. Followed up very close by Danville Fire Department and Public Works. This year, almost every
I think he's intentionally to mess with you, leaving out finance. You know.
No, I'm not there yet. I'm not there yet.
I think we need
I think it's pretty accurate.
I've got pictures and videos to prove it. But the other thing is this year, just about every division and department within the city participated. And if they didn't participate, it was because they also had commitments at other community events that they had to go to. And then first place in the costumes, the police is easy. We dress up as police officers, but finance. It was good. Finance won first. There's not even a close second or third. They blew it away. But it was really neat. And please, if you didn't get to make it the last 2 years, there was over 33,000 views on a video that was made prior to this. It's just going to get bigger, and it's really neat. We're going to have to expand it throughout the park because it was literally packed, and then we had a line going from the entrance of Friendly Town, snaking all the way back to Grant Street. Wow. So it was neat. And people didn't seem like they wanted to just go through and leave. They hung out. Mm-hmm. And also thanks to Joe Claypool and Public Works, they filled in for the hayride. So we continue the hayride. Moving on, the training center. We've exceeded all expectations as far as the use. You notice the MOU, a big part of the MOU with DACC is because they're going to start utilizing it also. Not just our classroom part of it, but our VR system, as well as a lot of our equipment, tools, and our expertise within our officers, to where we can incorporate their education, their criminal justice program, along with having officers being able to assist and either mentor or give testimony of a career in law enforcement. I think that's really going to boost the program, and hopefully it'll also benefit local law enforcement when they have an understanding of what we do more clear, and also the pride of what we take within our departments and building, not just Danville PD, but also all the villages and sheriff's office with Vermilion County, and keeping our local people local to serve in law enforcement. But also many organizations other than DAC, Vermilion Advantage, VVEDS, SRC, Birth to 5, Task, Crosspoint, et cetera. They're all using it. And I was hoping that we would have 3 to 4 to 5 training sessions a month there. We're often seeing 3 to 5 a week. And as well as other city departments being able to use that at any time. And it's really, again, an asset, not just for the police department and the city, other city departments, but for the community as well. Because when you have a venue to do things, that cuts down on a lot of costs with people that are operating off small grants or small budgets to focus on the stuff that they need to present material and information. It's good whenever you don't have to worry about a venue. And we hope to see the same at a smaller scale or even close. The classroom at Friendly Town is going to be 940 square foot. So that's going to house quite a bit of, have a lot of potential there as well moving forward. On top of that, I mean, we have other community groups and again, just the regional and local police training that we have there. It's been very well. And like I said, we're seeing 3 to 5 days a week. And if someone books something, first thing we have to do is get a hold of the training manager to make sure it's available first. And it's filling up. I'm very happy with it. Does anybody have any questions on any of that? And that's all I have for my report.
Thank you, Chief. Puts us item number 16, Treasury Report. Chris Herron, our Treasurer. 16A, we have May and June of 2025 Treasury Report and Bank Reconciliation. And B is items of information. Chris?
Thank you, Chairman. Like Chairman said, in front of you, you have the May and June of 2025, which is fiscal year 26, our current fiscal year, Treasury's Report, and the Bank Rec Status Tracking Report. I'd also like to let you know this is the third year that I attended the Illinois Public Pension Fund Association Conference. It's a 2-day conference. It's held in Oak Brook, Illinois this year, and I was in attendance with both of our pension boards. It's always a wonderful 2-day conference. We learn a lot, and this was our first year, all with true transparency here. This is our first year we entered the golf tournament, and we did not win. We got second place. I'm happy about that, but gives us room for improvement next year.
Right. There you go. To work on.
On October 14th, we had both our fire and police pension board meetings, and the treasurer's report and the financials were approved in both meetings. Next week, Tuesday, a week from tonight, full council, we will hear a presentation from Lauterbach and Ammann. This is the yearly presentation for the results of funding for pensions and the GASB 6768 actuarial reports for fiscal year ending 4/30/25, which basically that is going to be a presentation talking about the pensions, what we've put into it, what we expect to be put into it next year. That's the end of my report, unless there's any questions, please.
Anybody got any questions for Mr. Heron? It's really, believe me, it's nice to see May and June instead of maybe October last year or January 1. So thank you very much for
He's
all
not
your-
going to brag on himself, but actually his team started the September reconciliation today.
Well, good.
So we're actually on time.
There you go. Well, thank you for everything you do. Thank you. Item number 17, closed session. There is no need for one this evening. 18, review draft of the 2025 tax levy and 2026-2027 budget. Ms. Sweeten, is that you again?
It is.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for her?
Well, that was easy.
No, you weren't going to get off that easy.
Never that
Oh,
easy.
no.
First, I would like to thank Comptroller Sweeten and her, I'm not sure of the title, but
Deputy Comptroller.
Deputy Comptroller, that very helpful today, trying to get refreshed and see where numbers are at and things like that. Just a couple things. It's good to see the rate continue to go down, Mayor. That's certainly a good thing to see. One thing I had not appreciated, not being around government in quite some time, is the value of the EAV and the effect that the COVID real estate boom had on the EAV. To go from $304 million in 21 to $442 million in just a few years is pretty amazing. So it certainly helped our situation. You know, I have some different thoughts on how some things ought to be paid for, probably more appropriate for the budget discussion. The only thing that I would note, and I think still needs some consideration, and while I appreciate it is our collective responsibility to make sure that the dollars are being spent well by those that are allocated the dollars. As I got to looking at the documents after we received them, it looks to me like the library has been floating around $2 to $2.1 million for 4 or 5 years now. And so with a new director coming in, you know, trying to be successful, I hate for our first welcome to them as welcome to Danville. We just cut you from what your predecessors had to work with. And if we absolutely had to do it, I would be prepared to do it. My preference would be to see them stay at a funding level of about 2.1 million through the tax levy, which is less than they've received each of the last 2 years. But when it comes to fiscal discipline, I doubt if there's probably any department or any division anywhere with a $2 million budget that is still working with the same amount of money for 4 or 5 years. And that's my thoughts on that tonight. I've gotten calls. I'm sure some of you had comments out there. It's a thing. And so I just think that we need to consider that. Their board appears to have responded to prior challenges and what have you to hold things in line. And to me, that amount of an increase over that extended period of time is something to be approved and appreciated. But I have not spoken to the president of the library board myself. I was sort of waiting to see if any of them were going to come forward to offer any public comments. But that's what I have for you this evening regarding the tax levy. I did have 1 or 2 other questions. The 60-40 split that I think was referenced between fire and police, I think it's talking about the general fund contributions. How was that determined as 60-40, or is that because that's what's needed?
It's what's needed because the fire pension is further underfunded than the police pension.
Yes.
It's also what's applied to all all pension fees. So if it, whether
Okay.
it's like public safety fee or
Okay.
any allocation, it's always a 60-40 split.
Okay. And that's by ordinance, I assume?
Yeah.
As far as the tax levy, I don't have an issue with that. As far as new funds, you know, there was a slide in there for new funds that are being created for some of the projects that are anticipated in the upcoming years. You know, as I've stated previously and will continue to state, from a transparency perspective, I would like to see a fund that is solely dedicated to casino revenues. And where those revenues go can be determined by the council, but I would like to have the casino have a casino community benefit fund, or whatever the administration determines as an appropriate title, so that everyone will always be able to see where every penny of the casino money went. And we've done that for some of these other items like the fire station project. I think that's a good idea, as well as the others. It allows you to build with grants and other things. But I think that's one of the major revenue sources that could provide additional benefits beyond what they are currently. So that would be one new item, so to speak. And I think that's all I had on the tax levy. I do believe that we'll get into that in the budget discussion. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else have anything to say on item number 18? Review the draft of the 2025 tax levy and 2026-27 budget?
Well, if we're going to include the budget, I do
Yes.
have budget. I thought we'd resolve the tax levy if there's any else on
No.
that. Okay. From a budget perspective, the primary suggestion and lack of agreement is in the utilization of the casino funds for pensions. As I've stated for quite some time, the intent of the casino that was created by individuals that were not necessarily elected but were very supportive of the community had understandings with those individuals that those benefits would not go to employee benefits or compensation. Now, is anything in writing? No, of course there's not. But was that the spirit and the intent that was always discussed? Yes, it was because the casino was intended to benefit the community itself, and that's why I think an appropriate fund should show that. If this council and the mayor decide that that needs to go to pensions, then that's what shows as the expenditures from that fund. If it's decided that's not the case, then that's something different. But what seems to occur is we put it into the general fund and then we send it back towards pensions. This year in particular, the casino is projected to bring in about 2.26 in revenue that is going into the general fund, and we are transferring back out of the general fund towards the pensions $2.8 million, I believe. Something close to that. And so once again, you know, the full amount's being spent there, but it's being less transparent because it goes into the general fund and then it comes back in a different form. Why don't we just tell everybody we're using the casino money on pensions? And the reason I think that's important is because casino revenue and gambling revenue is highly volatile. And all of our pension contributions of that $2.26 million are in the control of one entity, and perhaps two, the state gaming board and the business that owns that entity. And if either of those should decide to interrupt or impact their operations, we don't have a backup plan for pensions. And so that's why so many communities use their gambling money, casino money, or what have you, for infrastructure projects, economic development projects, things of that nature, because you're not out anything if it evaporates. And we saw that happen with the off-track betting parlor. There were some years we saw some real good coin coming into the city, but towards the end, it was not at all. And so, you know, we are now reliant upon that to make our basic expenditures, which include pensions. And I just don't think that's the most prudent financial way for a community our size to be funding our pensions. That's everyone's individual opinion, and there's a lot of them out there. Obviously, the tax levy itself, still don't agree with the disproportionate distribution of the tax levy based upon the residential real estate property taxes paid by the various areas of the community. And I'm disappointed that we're still not willing to use the resources at our disposal to tell everybody what that is.
It's interesting that you say that, because I've actually instructed our GIS person to create a map, and he's done so, and I intend to present that to you at the next council. But what I would tell you is, and reiterate, is that common sense would tell you, as not only in Danville, but anywhere in America, that if you live in a house that's 3 times as large as a house in one part of town as in another part of town, and it's in a nicer area of town, that you're going to pay for disproportionately more in property taxes because your house is disproportionately much greater in value. What I would state, though, is the good thing about the city of Danville is that we don't charge you. We charge you a rate, and the rate is the same for everyone, whether you have a $2,000 house or a $1 million house.
With all due respect, Mayor, and some of those are fair statements, but what it does not reflect is the discrepancy in assessed valuations over decades that took place in a large township in our community. I've lived in that township most of my life. Yourself as well is currently living in that township. So while the rate may be the same, the value in the houses that are assessed by the tax collectors have not been consistent at all. So while that house that's 3 times the size of one I may have owned in a different part of town, the fact is the house in the northern parts in Blount and Newell townships were properly assessed over time. So their values grew tremendously, whereas they did not in Danville Township. And so it's not an equitable situation. And it's not anything the city did. It's this because the city is not willing to do anything but apply a rate. And there is a way to correct some of that discrepancy. We have over 1,500 properties, or we did, back in the mid-2015 timeframe. We had 1,500 properties that didn't pay any property taxes. Well, surely they should contribute something for police and fire services. And so there's a way through the public safety pension fee to balance this out, if that's what is the desire to do. So I'm glad to hear that. Be interested in the information to see how the numbers have changed. Obviously, we've redistricted since some of those analysis was performed. And I would agree, Mayor, that if my house is 3 times bigger, I should pay 3 times more. But should I pay 10 times more? I don't think so. And that's what we've had occurring in Danville. And once again, it's not any fault of anybody here at this council. It's it's one of those situations where it may not be our fault, but it is our problem. And I think it's led to some of our exodus of people because of the high property taxes in a specific part. And, you know, I think everybody expects to pay more when you have a larger house. But it also goes back to the services that are being provided. And we moved away from charging people residential property taxes to pay for pensions for all the other city employees. I would suggest it's not a bad idea to look at doing that with the firefighters. But if you go back in time, every IMRF employee, every employee in the city of Danville, their pension was paid out of property taxes, not out of general fund revenues. It only became impossible to continue doing that when the pensions became so large in those 2 groups that there was just no money left to pay anybody. And that's when the enterprise funds began covering 100% of their pensions, as well as the general fund having to cover all other pensions. So it hasn't always been this way. The numbers have driven the way it is, and I'm glad we're getting ready to take a look at it. So I'll be interested to see what that is. But there are other dynamics that haven't been considered because they're not politically popular. And so I'm hoping that we're all willing to at least consider those and listen to the discussions and see what we think is best.
We actually have considered some of them before, because I remember the previous administration proposed providing charging an inverse tax or inverse fee for public safety pension fee, where people on the East End would be paying substantially more and people in poorer areas would be paying substantially more than the folks who stay on the North End because of the concern about the disparate property taxes. And that was considered by the council. I don't remember if we actually voted on it or not, but I think we may have voted on it and we may have voted it down. But I mean, it's certainly something that was previously proposed, is that that the folks in the poorer areas were going to pay substantially more
than they were currently paying, not substantially more than the people in the districts that are paying high taxes. The numbers are all here. We can.
If we were to go back and if they were going to be paying for that fee, for the new fee that was proposed, the poor folks were going to be paying substantially more than the better off folks for that fee.
Well, you're excluding what they're already paying in property taxes. That counts too. It comes out of their pocket. So those are my thoughts. Okay, I don't want to go forever on this.
No.
Other things related to the budget. Once again, we still have personnel expenditures coming out of the Community Reinvestment Fund. There's no reason those can't be charged and allocated through Solid Waste Management Fund, and that would free up $350,000 or thereabout for more demolitions. And that was the thought at the time, and we're not in the construction model in Public Works anymore, so I think there's probably room in that budget if there needed to be to cover those personnel expenditures. So that would increase the amount of demolitions we're able to do in the neighborhoods. The other thing that I wanted to talk about, though, more specifically, is the budget has significant projections for additional revenue beyond what is currently known this year. Okay, so in talking with Comptroller Sweeten this morning, it sounds like our cash flow reports are showing that we're trending very well in our revenues, enough to make the projections that she's made here. My problem and concern is not anything associated with that. It's the fact that she's only working with a limited number of months of data. And we're making projections that are really not going to take effect until next May. And so it's difficult when we've been looking at 3 successive years of actual revenue decreases in the general fund based upon what the documents show. We're projecting basically a 10% swing. Last year was a 3%, 2 to 3% deficit, if I recall her percentage. And then, projecting an additional 7% this year. And I just think that given the fact that we don't know where the economy is really going to be, how long the shutdown is going to take place, while our community benefited financially tremendously through COVID, we will not do well if they impact SNAP benefits. A lot of people will need to be spending money they're spending other places to buy their food. And so I just think that given all of the constraints and the unpredictables, I think we should separate the budget and the tax levy and move them through at an appropriate pace when appropriate. We have at least 6 to 9 months of data we're basing projections on instead of a few. We just started the fiscal year in May, so we've basically got May, June, July, and August data, with September just most recently posted. So things are looking great, but if it hits the tank here at Christmas time and we don't continue to see those excessive revenues beyond what's projected for this year, then we're already behind the 8 ball and already off budget. And I guess the other question I had then is to confirm that we are projecting what we expect to bring in this year, or are we projecting 2.3% above the amount we're projecting to bring in this year?
The budgeted amounts for next year are based on what we are projected to bring in this year. It's level with what we're going to get this year.
Okay, and there's no increase.
It's actually a little
projected.
bit less. Yes.
There is or is not?
There's not any increase projected, or actually, it's a little bit lower than what we're currently, the trajectory we're on. Okay. It's actually a little bit lower than that.
And I think it's good. I think it's great. We want to do well. I just think that there's really no benefit if everybody's in agreement on what the tax levy should be. And I'm willing to agree to saying that the general fund could move the transfer there out of those funds. Doesn't mean I won't suggest cuts in the general fund. But if it satisfies everybody, those are my two hang-ups, is the library and separating the budget and the tax levy. Thank you.
Ms. Pickering?
Going back to the casino, going to the pensions, I guess my question, if you rob Peter, how are you gonna pay Paul? Where's that money gonna come from? Because we have to pay him. And I remember a time when we were so far behind, our credit was bad because we were behind on our pensions, so we have to pay those. So how are you gonna do that?
Well, that's the key. How do you do that? And that's where it goes back to what is going to be sustainable government for Danville. Okay? And so when I analyze that, I go back to the data that's on page 14 of the budget. And what's on page 14 of the budget sort of reflects that from fiscal year 2023-24 to the current projected fiscal year next year, 26-27, the personnel expenditures in the general fund, which includes salaries, overtime, health insurance, and work comp, and whatever is typically in that group, I'm assuming, went from 18,798,198 to 24,973,052. Well, that would suggest that we're growing through all of those expenditures at a rate of almost $2 million a year in the general fund. It takes $1 million just to give a 3% raise to the general fund when you calculate their additional pension, and it's actually probably over $1 million. I don't know what the work comp is, but I know laborers, policemen, and firemen have to be very expensive work comp rates. So we're on a path that we can't sustain. Our revenues are not growing at that. At one point, you needed to grow $1 million just to break even every year. Well, that was 8 years ago. Well, now we know what costs it. They've all doubled. So it's not surprising, or shouldn't be surprising to us, to see our personnel costs jump up over $6 million in 3 years to where's that number end? So we have to start looking at where can we cut, because that's how you have to pay the bill. But I believe it's a prioritization of the cuts, and I'm more than willing to offer thoughts on how that can be accomplished. But by the same token, I didn't see anything in the budget anywhere that gives the mayor or this council significant dollars to work on business and economic development. And we all know when projects come in here, they want something. Now, we've been able to do a lot through the TIF funds, through enterprise zones, and things of that nature. But you're probably all aware of businesses that have tried to do startups that didn't locate in those areas, that we have nothing to offer them. And then we tell them, but here's $20,000 in consulting fees you need to go get taken care of so we can review your project. And that's where I think the mayor and the council should have a fund. I believe casino funds are appropriate for that, where the mayor can say, okay, well, no, we'll come to the table. This is what we can do. You're not in our enterprise zone. You're not in your TIF, what have you. We just heard not long ago from Logan Cronk that there was a development out in Southgate, I believe it was, where there was a need to cover a gap in some electrical infrastructure, if I'm correct to recall. Well, if the mayor had the resources available to do that, would we have another business opening? Right now, the mayor doesn't have any discretionary funding of significance for economic development without negatively impacting something else. And so that's why I believe the casino money should be used for that purpose and for other things that have direct community benefits like infrastructure, job creation, things of that nature, because I don't believe the community is benefiting from it, from paying pensions. The employees that are needed to serve this city, the citizens will pay for. They always have. What they disagree with is how many we have and why.
Alderman, part of what you said, I agree with some of what you said, but part of what you said is not accurate, that there is no money set aside to help businesses. In fact, in 107, we actually have money, I believe it's 107, and I wish Logan were here because he could tell you better, but we do have substantial money set aside to help businesses. And there's not in any business since I've been mayor that has come and asked us for an incentive that we haven't been able to provide, that we've turned away.
So Fund 107, that's the
I need
infrastructure.
to,
There is a economic development portion of the infrastructure fund that we created, but that's not to be used for the types of things I'm talking about. That's for building roads or access points or things that's not consultants paid for by the city.
I need to check with Logan to verify.
If
that.
it is the 107.
But there is substantial, there is money set aside
I think
for
$250,000 or
this.
something
And there's never been a time where we've had a developer come to us that we have not been able to satisfy them. And thankfully, it's been primarily due to the good stewardship of the council, because every year we're able to put substantial money back towards not only our pensions, but towards Fund 107 and others, which would allow us to do that. So there is that opportunity. I want to address what you said about the library. The library went, I believe, from 15 or 16 full-time employees several years ago to 25 or 26, maybe even 27. So they have increased their payroll or their number of full-time people substantially. With that increases the amount of benefits that we're paying out for them. I also have analysis of that I will be providing for you as well. But the bottom line is, in my opinion, no matter how much they've received or anyone has received, if they can do better with the same amount or less, then they absolutely should. I think that you and I agree on this, that we should take as little money from people as we need to, and to do the job well. And so what I would tell you is that the library has done a good job overall. They have been a little bit heavy in personnel because they have added additional full-time personnel, some of which were very beneficial and some of which maybe weren't as beneficial. So I think that that's important that we remember that.
Okay, and certainly appreciate that, Mayor, that you're going to share some of that information with us. And I guess I would ask the same is if we could have both the library and the city let us know what they have added. Because
we have exactly that.
Yeah, very good. Thank you. For city as well, for city department?
Yes, sir, yeah.
Great, thank you.
I think we go back maybe even all the way to 2016.
Good deal, perfect.
So.
Anybody else on the budget or tax levy?
Chairman, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
And as far as our pension payments go, we were in a hole. I think one of our pensions was 15-point-something% funded when I came here. I think the other one was in the mid-20s. We don't have a final report yet, but I believe we're going to be going up into the 30-some% funded and the 20-some% funded for those. I remember, especially with moving Danville forward, the group that wanted to change the form of government, one of their primary concerns for this city was that we were not properly funding our pensions. And so we took it upon ourselves to take that charge seriously and to make sure that we are good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And I don't believe that it's good for us to leave. I don't have any kids, but I have nephews. I know your grandchildren. I know many of people around the table's children and grandchildren. I don't believe it's good stewardship for us to leave them with the kind of indebtedness that we have. And if we can continue to make payments and get ahead, we have to be 90% funded, as you well know, by state statute by 2040. If we stay on the path that we're funded, we will be 100% funded before that time. And I think that would be good stewardship. If we do that, if we can just hold the course for the next 8 to 10 years, then the city of Danville will have an additional $8 to $10 million a year that we can use for whatever we would possibly need. And in the meantime, there are certainly things that we need, but we're able to address a number of those needs relatively adequately. The one thing that I wish that we could do more of, and we're working on finding ways, is blight elimination. Absolutely, that's one area where we could do more. We would always want to do more with additional infrastructure too. We had some sewer studies a couple years ago, and the first phase of one of them is going to be about 20% of what needs to be done. Those we've been socking aside money for those huge projects. So I'm really proud of the stewardship of the department and division heads and of this council, because they have allowed us to make progress not only on our pensions, but in terms of the community, improving our infrastructure and getting rid of the blight that we have. So I understand your concern, Alderman, and it's a shared concern. But I think that we have to continue to knock that down. That's improved our credit rating, 2 ratings since we're here. As you know, we're likely going to have to bond at some point to build fire stations or whatever else it is. At some point, we'll need to bond. Every rating that increase that we go up, we improve our lot substantially. The primary negative impact on our credit rating is those unfunded pensions. So we have an obligation to ourselves and to the future to get those down. And we're making progress in the right direction, and I would hate for us to go those. We can always spend money in other places, but it's all about priorities. And I think that we have to consider everything.
And certainly concur on improvements to the pensions, Mayor. That has been a tremendous problem for the city over time. However, my recollection of the presentation of the audit is we're no longer gaining ground in the fire. And I think most people in the community find it very odd that we're 50% higher in what we're transferring out of the general fund, 30 to 50% higher for fire than we are for police. And that is a big question, and I think that's something we need to come to grips with. If we're making progress on the police side that we're not making on the fire side, why is that? Because that's my recollection of how the audit was presented last year. And I think we heard this year that number also increased more significantly than the police pension did. So I think we need to look at those things. You know, one of the things I ask that I don't know that we know the answer to or can get to the answer to is, what is the census that is sent for our pension calculations? Because after I got to thinking about the way it was described, how we've worked around the overtime problem by adding staff more quickly to where we actually have more staff than what the budget shows. If those people are being included in the census, pensions are being based on those people, and we don't intend to have them around. And so that's where we need to look at what was the census provided as they were calculating our pensions for the current time. Are they basing it on 47 firefighters over the next 20 years, or are they basing it on some other number?
So I don't know about the total amount funded. I can tell you the percentage funded even for fire has increased.
Yes, and I'm not going to diminish the improvements in the pension funds. They've been significant and should be noted. You know, there's some good things that have helped with that, and certainly stewardship is always part of that. But where I'm at is, where are we going forward? And while I know we say we'll have them paid off by 24, when you look at the numbers, we're not paying enough to pay them off. And so what happens is the state comes in, and now it's 2050. When I started, I think you probably had to have them paid off by 2020. And the state changes the law just because that's what they do, because nobody can come up with it. You know, let's say we owe $60 million right now, and I think the number's probably north of that. Well, just taking that number just to pay off that principal is substantial. You know, $5 million a year would take you 12 years. Well, you have to pay that plus what you're already paying out in pensions, which is already that same amount. So it's just, the numbers aren't there. But what they do is move the goalpost, and we pretend like someday it's going to get resolved. The interesting part, and you know, let's hope we don't come to it, is what happens when you get so small you have trouble funding them at all. And that's the thing, is we can't, if a firefighter and a police officer's pension was paid for 100% the day they retire, it's a different element. My understanding, and I don't know that we know the answer to that, is when an IMRF retiree retires, the citizens, the taxpayers, don't owe another penny towards their pension, because IMRF pensions are based on actual hours worked at the time, at the salaries, and they don't give cities a choice in how much they contribute back. They take all they need to make the pension whole. So when someone retires, is there any more pension due on them? I don't believe there is. There could be. I've asked that question, and you know, nobody's been able to answer it to this point. But I do know that when a police officer or a firefighter retires, it is highly likely their pension is not fully paid. And that's why you have such a large projection that deals with the unfunded liability. is because it's not just the unfunded liability that the commissioners created by not paying the bill. We have created unfunded liability by not paying 100% of their pension, so it's all there when they retire. So we're still paying pension contributions to pay pensions for people that retired 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And so it takes a long time to catch up with the fact that you can't afford what you got. And that's why I think we should be treating that more like an enterprise fund, saying the benefit is to property owners, and it's not based on property tax. It's everybody has the same level of service. And those are substantially different numbers.
Just to give you a note, when we were in 2019, police were 27.84% funded. Now they're 36.72% funded. In 2019, fire was only 15.65% funded, and now they are 28.4% funded. So, you know, I understand your point. So I think your point, Alderman, is more towards the current and future. How many firemen do we have, and how many should we have? I think
how many can we afford?
That's the question.
How many are willing to? How many are all the citizens of Danville willing to pay equally for?
But I think those increases that we've done in terms of our pension funding show that if we keep, because we have funded it at 100% since I've been mayor, and actually we've funded more than that every year because this council has supported doing that, and I appreciate that, and that's why we're making this progress. And whether the state moves the goal or not, the bottom line is if we could get to a place where we're close to fully funded, that gives the citizens $7 to $10 million or more a year. This council $7 to $10 million more a year that they can use on it won't be me. I don't know if it
won't be anybody in here.
It will give those people maybe it'll give Alderman Jones and maybe Administrator Ollis an opportunity to really set Danville up for success long term. And that's my only concern. Your point about where we are now and where we should go is well taken, but I think we would do ourselves and our citizens and our future a great disservice if we don't continue to attack the pensions aggressively.
I fully support paying every penny towards the pensions that you've proposed for this year. Just a different way of doing it. And I have no intention to diminish or to not appreciate the movement that has been made. It has been significant, and that's a good thing. I want to make sure we can keep doing it, and we've sort of stalled out on the fire side for whatever reasons. I don't know. I'm not an auditor. I'm not an actuarial. So having them come and help try to explain some things is probably a good approach.
Alderman, if you could, and any of the rest of you that have questions,
I'll be happy to forward those.
Our actuarial will be here later.
Next week.
Oh, next week?
Next week.
Oh, wow. Thanks, Treasurer, Comptroller. So if you could please send those questions to us as soon as possible. That way we can forward them to them and they can include that in part of their presentation.
Will their report be provided to us prior to the meeting, or will we have to wait until after they get here to see it?
She's bringing the presentation with her. That's what they've done in the past. It is a month earlier than since I've been here. We've always had it, I think, towards the end of December, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. But now that everything's more on time, they were able to come in November. I can ask them for, like a PDF or something and try to get it earlier.
Well, the request was to have your questions, but if we haven't seen the report, then I don't know what questions we might have, because it's hard to ask questions about something you haven't seen yet. That's why I asked the question.
I see.
Alderman, I mean some of the questions like Alderman Arends had about how that impacts, there are lots of questions without having the information, but certainly you would have more questions with the information too.
Absolutely. I have not had a chance to go through the budget yet, so I don't have any questions specifically about specific items in the budget. My questions, though, are what is the required date for the levy? Just because I know that we are up against a legislative requirement.
It'll be we have to have it approved. By law, we have to have it to the court on the last Tuesday of December. So we would need to pass it at the final full council of December.
And then I am in agreement with Alderman Arns as it relates to separating the levy from the budget. I just think that we might need more time with the budget. But I said that last year as well. So I'm always in agreement that if we could take more time and not rush through the budget separate from the levy, that would be a good thing. And any questions that I have, I will email. I don't. Unlike Alderman Arns, I am not retired, so I do not have time during the day for meetings at City Hall. Those are few and far between for me. So, but I will be more than happy to send an email. But I don't think that anybody at City Hall will want to be available when I'm looking at the budget, because that might be 6 and 7 and 9 o'clock at night.
I'm usually still here.
Yeah, those thoughts were from 2 to 6 this morning. I can't sleep.
All right, let's move on to items of information. You have anything? Let Alderman Butler, why don't you tell us a little bit, because I seen in the paper tonight, they had pictures of building the beds. How'd that go?
Oh, yeah, it went wonderful. Yeah, I wasn't there.
You wasn't there.
I got all the information.
I was there.
You know,
He was not there.
But Alderman Tig was there, but I got all the scoop.
There you go.
Get the scoop of what's going on and who was there.
Okay, Ms. Teague, would you explain a little bit?
Tig, more about it because she was there in person.
Okay.
Yes, but several people from his organization were there, and they do provide storage for those beds, and I believe they assemble. But it was a great event at Lowe's. There were also Lowe's employees who helped out. Probably, I'm not good at estimating numbers of people. That's not my thing. I would say at least 30 to 40 people, maybe more, were there. Several stations set up. It ran like 60. See, I told you that wasn't my thing. Several stations set up. It ran like a well-oiled machine. Wood came out the store, beds left. So all of the pieces were put together to then assemble the beds, which my understanding is once they actually get to the homes, that it only takes about 10 minutes to put them together. So a great event. I'm looking forward to participating in the future. About 20 beds were built, and I believe that there's a waiting list of over 100. So I know that there will be more builds happening in the future, and I strongly encourage other people to participate. Hopefully, we might move indoors as it gets colder. That's just a personal request. Don't know if that's a possibility, but if you do come, make sure that you're dressed for the weather, because it can get cold. It wasn't that bad on Saturday, but obviously it can get cold. But yeah, a great time.
Alderman, if you do that again, could you please just let us know in advance and we can send something out to the council? Because I didn't know about it, and I already had some other things planned.
He
so.
announced it. He announced it. He announced it at City Council on last Tuesday. Yep.
I know, but I, as much like you said with your schedule, I had three different city events that I had to attend on Saturday as well as 2 on Sunday. So if I knew ahead of time, like a couple of weeks or something, then I could plan and I would do my best to be there.
Right.
Thank you, sir.
Committee members' comments, anything? If not, we'll go to item number 21. Due to the fact that we have taken care of everything on the agenda, I'll need a motion for adjournment in a second. So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.